Good evening. I don't like the looks of that. Let's see what we can do here, if anything. Yeah, that's a little better. That's a little better. There I was in the dark, or I felt like I was in the dark. Hello, Lose Your Life. Hello, Maripathy. Hello, Mornings with Granny. Good to see you. Why me? Good to see you. Can you guys hear me all right? Good afternoon, Diana. I'm going to try to not make too much noise with my chomping and going on. I'm working on a cough drop. Something has happened, and I don't know what it is. I may have to get me a new video camera. I'm just not sure. But something has happened to my audio with this system I'm using, and it just happened like the day before yesterday, and it started on the other channel. It wasn't doing it on this channel at that time, but it looks like now it's doing it on this channel. So there's a little bit of a delay, and I apologize for that. So thank you, Mariposa. Hello, No. Hello, Abigail. Half of you's liked the video and the other half hasn't. Oh, so we've got 10 people in the room and 5 likes. So let's see here now. I'm sorry, we've had some kind of upper respiratory something with this weather that's changed. Our son Jeremy had this for about 4 days, and he's better now. He got out and mowed the yard yesterday. Well, thank you, Diana. I appreciate that. Sandy's had it now for about 3 days, and I just started kind of yesterday evening. I got a lot of stuff in my throat this evening aggravating me. I wish I didn't, but it just is what it is. I may have to have her bring me a drink of water here in a minute. I don't know. It could, Mariposa. Ivermectin. Well, I'm not supposed to say that, am I? Dadgum. So now, see why me? I hope you didn't get me in trouble, but you could have. It hid your post, because that's one of those words that's not supposed to be posted on social media. Okay, so I'm not gonna be able to let it put out. I wish I hadn't said it. Oh goodness! Well, hello, you sneaky girl. That's that Paulette. How are you doing, Paulette and Donna and Prepper Book Club? Good to see you all. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started in this. Hopefully there'll be some more people come in. If I don't, that's okay. But we talked yesterday evening about what happens in a SHTF, and how that in the beginning of it, there's going to be a lot of chaos. I don't even think people will understand hardly what's going on when it first happens. And that's part of what we're going to be talking about this evening. And this gentleman here survived a year in Bosnia. That I'm going over some of his stuff this evening with you. I wanted to share stuff from people that have lived through these events, that have actually had firsthand living in them, not just knowledge of them, but firsthand living right in these events and living through these events. He survived a year in Bosnia when his city was blockaded. And what that means is that when the city was blockaded, it stopped any outside help from coming in, and it stopped anybody inside from going out. It's kind of like they done Victoria, Australia, and they there for a while they blockaded it. Basically, you couldn't leave Victoria, and nobody on the outside could come into Victoria. Well, they still was bringing in food and things like that. But in Bosnia, that's not what happened. When they blockaded Bosnia, they blockaded everything. They stopped all trade from coming into the city. They stopped all trucks, and there was no gas, there was no food, there was none of that stuff that came into the city because they just didn't allow it to come in. And there are a lot of places why may under siege, and that's what happened in Bosnia. So these people were under a SHTF without electricity. They were not able to get in and leave the city. They were not able to go to the store and buy goods because the stores didn't have any goods in them. All transportation had stopped as far as produce and those kind of things. So that's what we're going to look into tonight. We're going to go at least through half of this. This is a pretty long interview this man had, so we're going to try to at least go through half of it tonight and finish up the other half tomorrow evening. But they asked questions, and I'm going to present these questions to you, some of them anyway, and we're going to discuss them a little bit as we go. And hello, Frazzlebird, it's good to see you. Hello, Julie. Anyway, it says, how quickly this was an interview with him. He was being asked these questions. How quickly did people turn to Barter once your city was locked down? And I think this is a different person than the one we was talking through last night or listening to last night, but it's all basically goes together and the same train of thought that these people is just amazing. He said it was a matter of a few weeks. He said for ordinary folks, it was a matter of a few weeks because we did not get the new reality right at the beginning of everything. The chaos was just crazy. There was no electricity, no goods to buy, no goods to sell, and they just didn't comprehend what was going on in the beginning. And I can understand that. I don't know that we would here in the United States if we had a lockdown like that. If we were under siege and came under a SHTF like that, to where, and I'm seeing things right now. I really want to talk about it later on in another video about these big ships, these container ships out on the West Coast. There's more to it than just what meets the eye, because there's stuff going on inland too that people don't realize. And we need to talk about that in another video. Hopefully we can do that before the end of the week. But he said that many folks started swapping and trading within just a few weeks because the reality of what was going on hadn't set in with them. And hello, Carol, it's good to see you. He said, later when I remembered that period, I realized that even right at the beginning of the SHTF, there were people who did not want to take money. Now think about this. We've talked about putting back money in small bills in case there was a grid out. And now that's going to be different, just a grid out for a while, than it is going to be for a SHTF. You still need to put back small denominational bills and keep them hid, okay, for things like just a grid down. Because if the grid goes down, there's always a possibility they can get it back up. In a siege, under siege condition, a actual blockade, SHTF, these things are going to be done away with. You know, the worrying about getting things back together. It's not going to be coming back together anytime soon. So anyway, he said he remembered that people did not want to take money for goods in the beginning of this. They asked for valuables like gold, jewelry, or weapons for the goods they had. So to swap and trade, they wanted gold and jewelry or weapons. Some of them were smart enough to realize that money was going to become worthless really soon. And that's what will happen in a SHTF. Money will have no value. If the economy crashes, money will have no value. Gold and jewelry were only good in the first period. This is another thing to think about. Only in the beginning of this SHTF were many people willing to even trade for gold and jewelry. Because unless they had a connection to the outside world, they couldn't eat gold and jewelry. it was of no benefit to them unless they could get it on to the outside world to trade it for goods. Okay. And it'll be the same thing here if something like that happens. None of this stuff will be the things that we consider that's worth a lot right now as far as monetary things are concerned, like the dollar bill and gold and silver and jewelry. Those things will become worthless in a SHTF. And I know a lot of people talk about putting this stuff back and keeping it. And you still will be able to trade some of it, but it won't be worth anywhere near what it is right now. He said ordinary folks needed a few weeks. It was a process that went from buying goods with money, then buying goods from people who still wanted to take money at outrageous prices, to the moment when money was worthless and only goods for goods were accepted. So, God forbid we ever see that day, but we very well could. If it comes into one of these things that it's a SHTF, then it'll get to where people will only want to trade goods for goods. He said it was rare, but sometimes you could find someone who would sell you something for foreign money that was like 50 times higher than the worth, of your money. For an example, he said a pack of cigarettes cost $1.50 in a German mark outside of Bosnia, but inside it would cost you 40 German marks for a pack of cigarettes. So it went from 1.5 German marks to 40 marks to buy a pack of cigarettes. That was the inflationary measure there. If you had money and was trying to buy stuff with money, because like he said, most people didn't have contact with the outside world to where they could convert that money back into goods. And there were only certain people that could do that. So he said, and the American dollar and the Canadian dollar in Bosnia was just basically useless, worthless. He said people would accept that money that had connections outside, of course, so they could swap and trade. And there was not many, but he said there was a few people who became millionaires through that, who had outside connections. Because if you think about it just a second, if a pack of cigarettes costs $5 here in the United States, and you had something like that happen here, and it cost you 50 times more to buy that same $5 pack of cigarettes, now it costs you $250 for a pack of cigarettes. So people that had the ability to hold on to that money and put it back, or had the ability to put that money in a bank in another country, those people could get rich. And a few of them did. A few of them, he said, became millionaires during that time. Why me says, do I think we should stock cigarettes? We'll get on into that in just a little bit. Why me? There's some things we're going to talk about that, things that he purchased and that other people purchased to trade with. So they said it come to the point that the ratio for precious metals and jewelry were basically the same. So if you had a piece of gold that was worth $100, it would cost you $10,000 for something. That's just how they did it. They were going to get their money and their gold and whatever it took in order for you to get the goods. So yeah, you can have silver and gold, but in a situation like that, it's really not going to help you. Not a whole lot. It might if you have people that have connections outside that they can make big money on it, but it might put you first in line or something. I don't really know, but it doesn't sound like that silver and gold made a big difference there. He said for small and quick trades, the usual currency was cigarettes. So why me? There's the answer to your question. Small and quick trades, the usual currency. Now this was their money, was cigarettes, because the percentage of people that smoked. Even values were expressed often like, well, that's worth 10 cigarettes, or that's worth 5 cigarettes, or that's worth maybe 20 cigarettes, or maybe 5 bullets, or 10 bullets. That piece right there is worth 10 bullets, So that was the new monetary standard. It was goods. It was just product. It wasn't money anymore. So that's why I said that we really need to have our gaps plugged in. We need to fill them in if we have any, especially in the beginning of this. We don't want to run short of anything in the beginning of any kind of SHTF or grid down or anything else. You don't want to be in a position where you have to get out and start trying to swap and trade this stuff. Hello, Pat. It's good to see you. Luann, it's good to see you. Snuck in here and I didn't see you. Let's see who else has snuck in here. Trying to keep up a little bit with everybody better tonight than I did last night. I did go back over and watch the live again and got everybody's comments, and I appreciate everybody's comments. We've got 28 in the room and 14 thumbs up, so give us a thumbs up if you haven't. Hello, Texas. It's good to see you. But the next question that was asked was, how were trade items valued? If someone wanted to make a trade, who set the terms? So how do you set terms in a situation like this? Who decides what something's worth? How do you set a value on anything? So this was what he said. He said, nothing is fixed. Absolutely nothing. Hello, Andrew. It's good to see you. There's no fixed price on anything. You can get approximates, kind of, Hello, Anna. It's good to see you. He said, through the whole period, the value of goods went up and down based on a lot of things. For example, if a UN food convoy managed to enter the city and some local warlord usually took it all, well, you're looking at gangs. That's basically what this is gangs. And he said if something came in, the gangs took it all. It didn't get into the people. They took all of it, and the majority of the food was cans of fish. If this happened, and the majority of the food was cans of fish, you could count on the fact that month those types of cans were going to be a little cheaper than they were the month before because they had an overstock of them. They'd want to get rid of them before they run. Or if that day's U.S. airplanes managed to hit with airdrops in our area, then MREs, military rations, were going to be a bit cheaper to find and easier to find. So a lot of it depended on the circumstances and the situations around it. Somebody said, why me? Said they're breaking up. Nothing but buffering, or am I buffering everywhere or just there? Can you guys still see me and hear me all right? Okay, Mariposa says good there. Okay. Let's see. Storm of Truth came in. Hello, Storm. Good to see you. Anyway, sometimes a simple rumor planted by rival groups, for example, about poisoned cans of cookies, meant that people did not value it so highly anymore. They didn't want you to try to buy the cookies because there wasn't any money in it for them. So they would put out rumors. Hello, Happy Mac. It's good to see you. I know, Texas. This has just started on this channel today. It started on my other channel 2 days ago. I've got to email into my people with this software to see if they can help me with it. I apologize for that, guys. I really apologize. I know, Teresa. Yeah, and I apologize, guys. He said some things didn't change value much during the whole period, like alcohol, simply because it was readily available. So in Bosnia, apparently they had a good source for alcohol, and the price on it stayed the same pretty much all the way through. Now, we look at a lot of this stuff, and I meant to say this in the beginning and forgot to. Hollywood portrays a lot of stuff. They do a lot of movies, and, like The Walking Dead, and I don't know what they're all called. I only know The Walking Dead because they advertised it here recently, and I remembered it. But there's been other movies they've done about SHTFs and end-time events and all that kind of stuff. And Hollywood glamorizes everything. Everything in Hollywood is glamorized, and the majority of it that they show is over exaggerated. They want you to watch it. They want you to be excited, and they want to scare you and all this stuff, and they do whatever it takes to get that almighty dollar in. And if you're expecting SHTF to be like Hollywood, you're going to be really sorely disappointed, because they're not going to work like that. And that's what this other fellow said yesterday that I was reading some of his stuff. He said Hollywood has just about destroyed people thinking as to how these events are going to take place. He said it don't happen like Hollywood, not in real life. He said it's much worse, and people just have to realize that. And you're right, Donna, it's getting real bad in Australia. I just got a voice text today from a lady that said that the healthcare in Victoria, that they have told them that if they don't get verified the shot, that they will not have health care, that they're going to take their health care away from them. So there's going to be a lot of people in Australia that's going to be forced to do that in order just to maintain health care. And we see how they work this stuff. And we expected that to happen. I didn't know if it'd be Australia first or Canada first or France first or where it would be, but we expected that to happen. And I expect it to come here in the United States, that at some point, if you don't get your verification, that you may not be able to use your Medicare or Medicaid at some point. I look for that to take place right here in the United States. I don't know at what point that will do, but I look for that to happen. So I would encourage people that have that, if you can use that to get stuff you need ahead of time, to go ahead and get those things. Don't put it off. If you can use that to get things you need, then I would recommend you go ahead and get them. Even if you don't need them right now and you think you're going to need them next month or the next month, then go ahead and get it and put it back. Yes, I read that email this morning, Mariposa. That's really something. And the thing about it is, the hospitals didn't blink an eye about it. They just said, "Oh well, they're just gone." Yeah, they're taking their health care away, Teresa. It is blackmail, but that's what they're doing. But anyway, and he said other things' value was a matter of the situation. So, for example, if you had a sick kid at home, now think about this just a second. Because we need to get this stuff put back. We need to have these kind of things put back. If you had a sick kid at home and you needed antibiotics and you spread that word around that you were in need of antibiotics, you could expect a high price simply because that you gave that information that you were needing something really bad, really fast. So they would do what the old folks called hold you up and basically rob you, because they knew you needed it. They knew you needed it bad. So we need to have everything we possibly can. Homestead Aussie said she may have done her live stream on Prepper Tribe. It was very sad as she spoke. They've been doing some videos over there showing some of the events that's been taking place in Australia. If you've not been over to Homestead Aussie's channel, go over and check it out. Lynn and Wayne have been exposing a lot of stuff that's going on in Victoria. You need to watch those, because at some point you can expect that here and in Canada and other countries around the world. He said, but usually we knew the value of things or goods for that week, for example, anyway, because it changed weekly. The cost of stuff changed weekly with them, depending on what we said there, the availability of it, how much that they had, and who had it actually. Because he said most of the time when the truckloads of stuff came in like that, the warlords or the gangs here in the States, it'd be called gangs. The gangs took it and they distributed it, and charged what they wanted to for it. So what were the general rules of trade during this time? Are there rules for trade in a SHFT? Is there a protocol to follow? That's a good question that we need to know. I do, Storm of Truth. I think that Australia has been the test country. I sure do. Believe it still is. And thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. Canada will see some hard times before we do, I think. Which we're already seeing some things, but Canada's seeing it much worse. So the value of things and trading rules on the ground were similar to trade rules at normal life flea markets, only with the understanding that you might be killed in the process of the trade. Okay? People had to keep that in mind, that they might actually be attacked or killed in the process of the trade. But otherwise, it was like trading at an open air flea market. A few of the rules on the ground during the trade were, number one, if you need something, then the price is going to go up. If you need it and let people know you need it, that you're desperate for it, then the price is going to go up, just like it does at a flea market. If you go in a flea market and you don't know what the price on something is, and you start telling somebody how bad you need that item, then a $1 pack of cough drops might be $5 before you leave there. You know, that's just how people are. Another thing is, don't offer all you've got in one trade. Don't go in showing all your cards, as the old saying is. Don't go in showing people everything you've got, all your goods, all your nice stuff. It's just not to do like that. Look like you don't have much. Take a little bit with you and trade for a little bit today and a little bit tomorrow. Never give a reason for someone to take the risk of attacking you because you have way too much good stuff or way too much stuff, period. During the SHTF, people are going to realize that the law is not going to be there to protect you or them or to punish them. And if you give them a reason, there's going to be people that if you give them a reason to attack you and take what you've got, then they may very well do it. You have to be careful with that kind of thing. Just like I said, just go easy, take a little bit of stuff, trade a little bit today, trade a little bit next week, trade a little bit the next week. Don't take all you've got at one time, try to get a big bunch of stuff at one time. Never, we talked about this yesterday, never do a trade in your home, ever. Now, I said, unless you know the person 110%, I got an email today from a friend in the UK, and she said that because of their prepping and the way they have done their farm and their home to keep it private so that nobody knows what's in their home and in their farm and that kind of stuff, their preps and all that kind of stuff, some of the people at the local church had fallen out with them. And now they've been shunned from the church. So her husband's 80-year-old, and they've had to ask their son to come and try to help them because now they don't have anybody in the community that's willing to help them. Well, I'm sorry to say this, but that's how most good church folks are. That, you know, make one mad and you've got the whole family mad, and you know, then friends of the family is mad, and it don't matter if you did anything right or wrong. It's just that this one's mad at you, so I'm going to be mad at you too. And that's sad. That's really sad. It really is. She tried to get her daughter to come, and her daughter said, "Why no?" Said, "Well, y'all are crazy." She said, "We're the crazy hillbillies," to her. And to the people, that was in the church, we're crazy hillbillies because we're prepping. And she said, the daughter said, well, Mom, don't you know that London will always have food? They're not going to let London run out of food. You'll always be able to go to London and get food. So there you go. Anyway, never do a trade at home. Don't let people know what you've got in your house. Don't let people know where your house is located. It's another business. They don't have to know where your house is to do a trade with you. And if somebody invites you to their house to do a trade, there's either one of two things going on there. They're either completely void of any understanding, ignorant of this, or they're going to set you up, one of the two. Don't do deals in people's houses. Just don't. You put yourself at a disadvantage when you go into their property on their territory. You become vulnerable. Always make a safe place outside in a public area. I've thought about this today, and in our area would probably be our courthouse, because under any situation, there's always going to be people gathered at our courthouse, and that would be a safe place to do trades and swaps and trades. And you might think of somewhere else. Now, the police departments are not even going to be open. You can just forget that. They're going to be gone. Doing the trade, let's see. Yeah, here's the last thing, probably. No. Give me just a second. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I want to do these 5 pages if I could get through them. Okay. One of the other things he said here about all this swapping and trading is that he said you need to remember that the only thing that protects you and your preps is you at this point, because there's going to be no law that you can call. So you're going to become your first line of defense, and you have to keep that in mind. So we've not talked about this a whole lot, but people need a means of defense of some kind. And now I'm going to look into an article I've been looking at. I've not actually read it yet, but I'm going to go back and revisit it. Ways and means of defense without actually using one of these for a home. So we need to look into that a little bit later on too. Now, guys, listen, if you've got stuff you want to talk about in another video after I get through with this series tomorrow, I think I'll finish it tomorrow. Be sure and leave a comment in the comment section below this video when we finish it, okay? But anyway, trade is going to be a matter of carefully planning. It starts with information about who has something that you need, and then checking that information and then rechecking it. Make sure that it's not just hearsay. And then you're going to be sending information to them that you want to trade, then setting the terms about the place and number of people where you're going to trade. You send your information. You say, hey, listen, you can bring 2 people with you because I'm going to be bringing 2 people with me. We're going to meet at the courthouse. If you want to do this trade, that's where we'll meet. We're going to meet over here at the park. If that's where you want to meet, we're going to meet at the city park on such and such avenue, or we're going to meet over here at the police precinct on such and such avenue. It's a real open place where you don't have to worry about ambushes and things like that. And, it's just things you need to think about, your safety. Once you trade with people and you get good trades, then of course you can mark them as people who's safe to trade with possibly in the future. Things change, people change, but at least it'll be something to start with. Everything pretty much is a matter of trust and skills. If you're, now in our area, we live in an area where we have a farmer's market, and it's possible that people could meet up there in our area and do trades and swaps and things like that. But everybody doesn't have that. And just like Texas, Janet said right there, their town doesn't have a courthouse. We have to go to the next town over to court. The biggest wide open parking lot is the grocery store. So that might be where you'd need to meet, in the middle of the grocery store parking lot where it's open and there's nobody around can just step out from behind something and bother you. But these are things that has to be kept in mind, because if one of these SHTFs happen, then we're going to be our own line of defense, and we have to take care of ourselves. We won't have the law to call on, and we have to think about what the other person's thinking, what they might be thinking, what they might have in mind, and be ready for those kind of things. Because at some point now, if an SHTF happens, now we can have all the stuff we want to have, and we can have it put back, and we can have a lot of stuff to do us for a long time. But at some point along the way, I'm thinking that no matter how well you're prepped, at some point along the way, there's going to have to be some kind swapping and bartering to get by. So yeah. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is, I'm a little over 30 minutes, but that's okay. The last thing I'm going to talk about is, are skills or products more valuable? Which one's has the most value, skills or products? What do you guys think? Hello, Terry. It's good to see you. So are products going to be more valuable, or are services going to be more valuable in a SHFT? Hello, Tina. It's good to see you. It's very possible, Abigail, to get robbed. Yeah, spread the word. Invite somebody tomorrow night. Share this video on your social pages on Facebook and Instagram and whatever you might have. But yeah, let's look at that. Are skills or products more valuable? He said in the long run, skills are more valuable simply because you cannot spend your skills. If you had medical skills, you would expect that people over time, through the word on the street, will hear that, and that you simply will have opportunities to get something for your skill. That way you don't have to carry stuff with you. Yeah. If you have a skill, then you don't have anything that somebody can steal from you. And, there's a lot of people that have some really good skills, and there's some people that don't have any skills. And I would highly advise you, if you don't have any kind of skill, that you try to learn to do something. Maybe, to be a seamstress, to hand sew things, to repair leather. Because people in that situation, if their boots give out, if the soles of their boots give out on the leather or whatever, they're going to need it sewn back. They're not going to be able to take it downtown and get it fixed anymore, because there ain't going to be nobody down there to fix it. When a serious collapse happens, things fall apart around you physically. There's no services or skills or repairing valuables. So skills of repair, skills how to fix and repair is very valuable at that time, and technical skills will be very valuable at that time. Texas Janet knows how to make good beer and wine. Well, that'd be an excellent barter item. Yeah. Abigail's got medical skills. You could trade your medical skills for product. Good fiddle players. Yep, they might be worth some money. Music soothes the soul. Medicines were substituted with because you didn't have a hospital. So medicines were substituted with home remedies or natural remedies. Okay, so knowing that stuff was valuable in there. People who knew how to use natural remedies to cure people, they were very valuable people at that time. Making simple cloth pieces was good. Repairing weapons, if you can repair weapons and sew, those are good skills to do. Just all kinds of stuff like that. Skills that made the new reality easier for the people. That was things that were very valuable. If you had skills that could make life easier on people, they were more willing to trade for those skills. And when people can do that, then they have an upper hand. You become valuable. You become valuable then, not just your skills, but you become valuable to people then. And in a situation like that, the community is going to look out for you. They're not going to want anything to happen to you. You become a valuable commodity to the entire community, just your being there. So that's always good to have skills. People's not going to attack you and kill you for your skills. They don't want to lose you. They want you to be around for a while. So tomorrow night we'll finish this one up. I've got about this much more to go over, about another 30 or 45 minutes worth on this particular one. these questions that they asked this gentleman, and there's a lot of it, folks. There's a whole lot that goes on in the SHTF that I had just never thought about, and we need these things. We need to kind of have something in our minds, and we've got to prep, not just we've not got to prep just physically, which we need to do that. We need to prep physically with our foods and stuff, but we have to prep mentally. We have to get our minds in such a shape that when things happen, and I don't think it's if things happen, I think it's when things happen. We need to have our minds in such a shape that when things happen, that we can live under it. There will be, if there was a SHTF here in the United States of America tomorrow, next week, whenever, anytime real soon, the suicide rate would be horrendous. It just would. It would be horrendous because people they just wouldn't be able to deal with it. And we don't need to be in that bunch. We need to be in the bunch that's ready for it as best as we can be. I don't think anybody, I just don't think anybody can be fully prepared for something like that. But we can at least make life easier on ourselves if something like that were to happen. So thank you guys. We appreciate you stopping in this evening. We're going to get off of here. My throat's starting to get a little itchy again. But we appreciate you. We love you guys. You all make our channel what it is. And I want to try to work on this. Like I said, I've got to email into the people on this software that where we've got a lag in our audio. So hopefully we can get that fixed over the next couple of days. God bless you all. We pray the Lord watch over you and keep you and bless you. And until then, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to share us on your social media. And we'll see you tomorrow evening at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you all.